Harbor.
The establishing force behind Henderson Harbor was a chunk of land known as the Black River Tract, which included 11 separate towns. One of those towns was identified as Number 6, and it was noted that it was a pretty good town. It was this pretty good town that attracted the attention of a wealthy European-American landowner by the name of William Henderson. Henderson saw the potential of development in northern New York. So, imagine his pride when he won the parcel in a land lottery. Now the owner of the western portion of Jefferson County near Lake Ontario, Henderson tucked the new deed away with others and watched it flourish from his New York City home.
He bought and sold land throughout New York State in the late 1700s after the Revolution, and he made his money back by reselling that land, in many cases in smaller parcels, to settlers who were coming here from New England. The town of Henderson was one of those pieces that he acquired, and in 1806, by act of the state legislature, this piece was carved off from the town of Ellisburg and was named the town of Henderson after William Henderson. He never really lived here, but he did come several times to check on his investments.
On those visits, Henderson was most impressed by the deep harbor that is now Henderson Bay and the prospect that many ships could be built there. Other developers agreed, and after the War of 1812, Henderson became home to 3 major shipyards.
And between 1812 and 1880, they built over 48 great ships to carry freight, and they were built by such men as White, James White, Captain Warner, Captain Seaton, Captain Reed, and Morgan. And these were just massive ships. And all of them were built from these great forests of white cedar that had grown on Stony Point. And what we're told through the historians is that these white cedar were like the great sequoias of California. They were so tall and so wide, they were wider than a wagon. And you couldn't even drive a wagon between them because they were so close, they grew so close together. And so that was what created the great ships out of Henderson.
When the forests were depleted, the industry faded away. But all was not lost. With a booming population of over 2,000, Henderson was still home to 3 mills, 2 in the village, and 1 at the outlet of Big Stony Creek. And while the mills were crucial to the economy, things began to change still, and soon Henderson became a fishing and farming community.
After the Civil War in Henderson, great hotels began to rise up. Ones built by Warner in the main harbor. Then there were little fishing communities like down in Paradise Park and Highland Park. And then the great Brooklyn House down at White's Bay that actually brought people from New York City. The Gill House became very important in Henderson Harbor.
There are other homes to note in Henderson too, but for a different historical reason.
There are at least 2 known stops on the Underground Railroad in Henderson for escaped slaves who were fleeing to Canada. One was the Aspinwall House, which still exists at the intersection of State Route 3 and County Route 178. And the other is the Johnson property out on the end of Snowshoe Road.
Sometimes we think we've found out all there is to find when it comes to area homes, their connection to history and local artifacts, but Henderson was gifted with quite a surprise in 2000 after a fire at a local residence revealed something extraordinary, a log cabin hidden in the walls of the home dating back to the 1820s. The house walls were built over the historic cabin, yet the owner never knew. In a wonderful act of giving, the owner donated the cabin to the Henderson Historical Society. The society carefully disassembled it and reassembled the historic find on the grounds of the museum, located in the former 1830s Universalist Church. The addition gives visitors one more thing to look forward to besides the natural scenery. Today, Henderson's population hovers around 1,300, but that population expands an additional 5,000 when summer residents and tourists arrive to swim, fish, and enjoy the scenery.
The sunsets are just breathtaking. It's just such a beautiful place. People like the fact that it's not overly commercial, that it's more set back, more slowed down, and it's just a wonderful way to while away the summer.
The historic piece you just watched comes from an original 4-part documentary series called Discovering Jefferson County. The series was produced right here at WPBS. If you'd like the entire series at your fingertips, you can order your own copy and enjoy all 4 parts in the comfort of your own home.